Welcome. We are back another day in the market. Yesterday's stream was titled Market Bottom or something like that. And today we did rally. We're down after hours with Netflix earnings. Surprisingly though, Russell 2000 futures are green, which is something we're going to talk about. So what's the schedule for tonight's stream? If you're watching, welcome to the stream. If you're new, hit the subscribe button and sit back, relax. You're going to learn a little bit about charting. And yeah, I'm going to start off with talking about crypto, Bitcoin for like 2 or 3 minutes. After that, I'm going to talk about the overall stock market, some other markets. We'll talk about some metals like gold and silver, the Hang Seng Index, the US 10-year, which is almost at 3%, which is insane. We're going to talk about the S&P up 1.5% today. The Russell 2000 small cap index up 2% today. We're going to talk about some names like Fisker up 3%, Clov up 4%. I think it was up like 8% at one point. If you watched last night's stream, I was very bullish coming into today. And I also talked about financials. Most of those big banks that we talked about were up, such as JPM, C. I didn't even look at Bank of America, but I'm sure that was up. So we're going to talk about those again. It's going to be a good time. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And yeah, what else was I going to say? Before we even get into all that, let's see. We had Netflix. We're going to talk about Netflix for a little bit. Let me make sure I add this on my watch list. All right, we're going to talk about Netflix, which was down 25%. And I'm going to also give my opinions on what this means. Which it's crazy. And I put out a tweet earlier that Netflix is not the US stock market, even though it's acting like that after hours. But it was really our first major large cap tech earning of this earnings season. And just like last time, Netflix severely underperformed. So we did have that today. We also had IBM Interactive Brokers. Tomorrow we have Tesla, all right? So if you think Netflix was big, let's see how Tesla affects things, all right? We got Tesla earnings tomorrow. We'll be talking about them tomorrow night on stream, and Snapchat on Thursday. So we got a lot to break down. Again, starting off with the overall markets, then I'm going to talk about some individual names like Clov and Fisker. AMC and GameStop are up like 6 or 7% today. I'm going to talk about a potential rotation that's already maybe occurring to small caps. I'm going to talk about Netflix, of course. We're going to have a good time, all right? So let's get started with Bitcoin, all right? Which had another green day, hidden bullish divergence is continuing to develop. And again, I've been talking about this bullish divergence for the past 2 or 3 nights. It's still there on not just crypto, but many stocks and markets. I also do want to let you all know ahead of time. TradingView is being weird today, all right? I woke up this morning and I was doing my normal thing, looking around different charts, different time frames, and for whatever reason, the daily is fine. The daily and the weekly is fine, but if we go down to like, take a look at this, all right? Hopefully they fixed. I don't think they did, but all right, I'm gonna draw a 1 hour line on TradingView, okay? And we're gonna select only. It should only appear from the 1 hour time frame to the 3 hour time frame, and usually this works. But let's go over to the 4 hour time frame, and why did it not work? Why is this line showing up here? Look, I'm on the 4 hour time frame, and I only have 1 hour to 3 hours selected, but the same line is showing up. It's just, this started today. I don't know how to fix it. I did open a ticket. If it doesn't work, I'm gonna have to DM TradingView on Twitter, but it's for somebody who uses the MACD like literally for hours every day. It was definitely a little bit frustrating, and you are going to be seeing that throughout the night. So don't ask me, why do I have incorrect divergence drawn? What are these random lines? It's a glitch, okay? It's a glitch. But getting started with Bitcoin, hidden bullish divergence, follow through price action after the bullish engulfing bullish pin bar type of candle yesterday, bouncing off this demand line roughly. 4 hour, we talked about the breakout that's starting to play out. You're testing this little 41.5k area on Bitcoin. If it breaks out, it could take you up to, I'd say, next resistance around 43.3k. Okay. All right, so that's your next resistance on Bitcoin. We're gonna move over to the current crypto swing, which did pull back, DSO down 6%. This basically hit the first target, but I wouldn't even say greedy. I was just hoping it would like literally touch it, but it got 0.5% away, and then it fell 23%. And now it's trying to hold above 38.50. Hopefully it can do that. And then quickly we'll talk about Ethereum, which did break out on the 4 hour right over here. We talked about that last night. with triple classic bullish divergence, and on the daily you have this bullish pin bar candle on Ethereum with hidden bullish divergence. All right, so that's really it for crypto. Very simple, very quick. I mean, when crypto starts doing things, I mean, you're still kind of just not doing much. I'll spend some more time talking about it. We just had a nice round of crypto trade alerts that were free, all hit their targets pretty much, or get marked green on the sheet. That's all cool. And yeah, now we're gonna move on to some other markets. I also have to talk about some new swings from today. But oh my gosh. All right. So also want to say this for any new viewers, and I had to tweet this out earlier today. For anybody who's been watching this stream for a while, you know I kind of do this like fake big ego thing. Like if you actually like watch the full streams, you know I don't really have a big ego, somewhat. But I like doing this like fake big ego thing. It's just like it's just like a little character within me. All right. But I will say this, okay? There is not a single person in the world, in the whole entire world, was it like 8 billion people now or something, that has anticipated these crude oil futures based on technicals like I have. There just isn't. All right. If there is, find the person, send them my way, and I'll have a chat with them. But as far as I'm aware, there's not one single person. And if you've been watching the stream, okay, since over here, right? I talked about this breakout on the daily from this huge previous multi-year resistance. Then we went up in price. Then over here, we had this bearish engulfing candle. I talked about how that was bearish. We sold off. Then we dropped down to what's known as a bullish bat PCZ. We rallied off of that just to retest the resistance. So when we ran back up to the resistance, I said looking bearish. Then you created this triangle pattern. When it broke down, I said you might pull back a little bit further here. You did. But then you created a 4-hour wedge. It broke out of the wedge. You went up. And then over here, you went up to this 108 level, which if you go back to last night's stream, I said you could find resistance at, and you pulled back 5%. So is this because I'm a genius and I know the future? No. It's actually not a coincidence, but you know, these are technicals that can give you a 55, 65, maybe 75% edge, whatever. I don't know the actual numbers, but it's just, it's worked out like 5 or 6 times like in a row here. Like I'm not gonna act like this was like all skill. There definitely was an element of luck to all these technicals playing out perfectly, but it's just crazy. I mean, it really is. So the big question is now, what's next? And unfortunately tonight, I do not have more of a direct edge. You're literally in between two levels. This 98 level I've drawn and this 108 level, you're right in between them. Not much of any patterns, so we're gonna have to wait till tomorrow for me to do another large ego prediction on light crude oil futures. But until then, we can move on to the Hang Seng Index, which did pull back. If I'm not mistaken, there might be like this surge of COVID cases or something. I think I heard about that. I don't know. But we also did talk about this broadening wedge breakdown on the Hang Seng Index. And you're still you haven't really fell. I mean, you do have this gap fill at 20.1K. We'll see if it fills eventually, just not much here. Moving on to metals before we talk about the stock market. We did talk about, I'm not going to do the big ego thing, but we did talk about this large shooting star candle on the metals last night. And you did get faulted. You got a bearish candle and then you pulled back. You actually now got bearish engulfing candles. Let me check if gold has the same thing for gold. So it was good. We back tested previous areas of resistance as support with hidden bullish divergence on both silver and gold. We rallied, and then yesterday we had those shooting star candles, and then today we pulled back. So same thing here. Yeah, the edge was a lot clearer on most of the nights I've been talking about these, but right now the oil and gold and silver, they're just in 50-50 areas. So it's a little bit tougher for me to be a little bit more direct tonight. And then moving on to the 10-year, this is continuing higher, and it is entering, so you're roughly at 3% on the US 10-year, and you're entering the zone of resistance. Okay, I drew this I think a couple weeks ago. You have yet to pull back or anything here, but I do think that around 3% is where you can see a pullback for the 10-year. Okay, it's a psychological level obviously, but you also do have this little zone of resistance between like 2.9% and 3.25%. All right, you can see these highs from 2018 and then also some highs from 2014. I don't know why the chart's like all messed up, but the data's not filled. I don't know, but yeah. So you're approaching some resistance here. Overbought on the 10-year. You're definitely at the upper Bollinger Band. I do think that this is overbought short term, And I would be surprised if you didn't start pulling back within the next couple of weeks here. I don't know the future. I can't give you a certainty, but I do think a pullback could occur soon. However, the momentum is definitely not on the side of bears for the 10-year. It's definitely on the side of bulls. So you're probably going to want something like some divergence to occur, even like if it's on the same island, just for this MACD to start reversing a little bit downwards. And maybe like a shooting star, bearish engulfing, anything of that nature. We'll see what happens. So those are the other markets. We can now move on to the stock market. Keep in mind, futures are down. It's not the end of the world. I mean, you were up over 1.5% today on the S&P, and you're down not even 0.5% after hours on the futures. So you are down after hours, but you definitely did not give up all of today's gains or something after hours. Like, basically, we had an amazing day after yesterday's stream, which I was literally hinting at the fact that I think that we were bottoming, at least short term. And you know, the Netflix earnings dropping after hours is a little bit just like, it could have just been a good all-around day from start to finish, and then we had to have that after hours. But point still stands for right now, unless we gap down like 3% tomorrow morning or something, which again I don't think we are going to. Point still stands, and I'm just going to look at this as what happened after hours is something that happened, but I'm not really going to pay too much attention to it until we see the price action tomorrow. Okay, the candle is not on my chart yet. I will wait until the candle is on my chart to even consider that data, unless we have like, basically with after hours action, I don't really care too much about it unless it's like something like really like crazy, like something like this where we gap down, you know, like 3%. Right, that's when I'll start like, you know, caring about it. But yeah, so what's going on? The technical thesis is starting to play out. We talked about that hidden bullish divergence on the S&P, on the daily, on the 4-hour, that scuffed inverse head and shoulders formation that is all still there very nicely. You bounced off that 436 level we talked about. You can see there's a few lows at that level from the past, and even candle highs right at this 436 level. That was the level that I did say yesterday was the last major support for the S&P 500, if we can find it. Why am I so far up? There we go. All right. So that 436 level is so far the low of the week, roughly. I mean, it went down to 435.50-ish. And today, I mean, you pretty much in one day, I mean, you've been just going like, you just been like whips on like up, down, up, down, up, down. But this is your largest green candle in the last, 2 weeks, pretty much, at least. I mean, I'm sure it's been for a while. I don't know the last time we had a 2% day or 1.5% day. It's your largest green day for a while. The bulls really did step up today, and you engulfed. You can see you engulfed. You know, we can, I wouldn't say don't forget this candle, but you engulf all this price action. You could definitely say on lower time frames where you were in this range. All right, it's actually on my 15-minute chart. You were so many lines. I'm sorry. Let's just do this really simply. I'll delete everything for a second, and we can take a look at this. All right, SPY was in this range, okay, for about 11 days, including weekends, and today you broke out of it to the upside. All right, that's pretty much what happened. And yeah, on the 1 hour. Did we not talk about the quadruple classic bullish divergence, which again, TradingView screwed up my drawings on my MACD for whatever reason, but you know, you're making lower lows on price, you're making these higher lows consecutively on those red islands. We talked about that quadruple classic bullish divergence, and we also talked about this level that was being tested. And I told you all last night on stream, go back and watch. The big ego's coming out, but we did say that after hours you were breaking out. And again, I know I was saying, you know, I don't really consider after hours, but that's why I also said last night on the stream that, you know, we'll see what it looks like. And you did certainly break out in the morning. And again, if you're paying attention, let's see if it shared to Discord or not. I share all the other ones here. So you're not gonna, it's on my Twitter, but I'm not gonna go through it. But I did share it in the morning, probably in the Discord too, that you were breaking out. Let me actually go to the trading chat so I can just give you all context. Remember to join the Discord. The link is in the description. It's free to join. There we go. Channel breakout pretty much confirmed about an hour into the day. I'm sure I must have, yeah, I talked about it earlier as well. So there you go. SPY testing breakout. This was 14 minutes after the open, all right? So I was at 14 minutes after the open, I was talking about the SPY testing a breakout. And we were like right over here. So we went up like another 1% after that. And basically, yeah, remember yesterday we had that whipsaw price action. This was our price action yesterday, up, down, up, down, up, down. And then like the last few minutes we went back up. This is how pretty much we were coming into today. And then today at the open, we broke out. We took out this resistance level that led to a nice rally over here. And then you created this handle for a larger cup and handle. And you broke out of the handle towards the end of the day. And then after hours, of course, the NFLX earnings, you pretty much came back down to that same level you were finding resistance at. So, yeah, that was your price action. You know, so we did talk about the breakout earlier in the morning, and it's all good. You know, it's really easy to call a breakout 15 minutes after the open. It doesn't take any skill. All you gotta do is draw lines. You know, it is what it is. So it is what it is. But let me see if I can find this. Here we go. All right. We entered resistance around 444. Okay. We entered resistance. So I was able to identify this earlier breakout over here, and then we entered resistance. And there you go. And I said the resistance and the double bottom measure move both lining up around here. It's a key intraday make or break area. And what did we do when we got up to that 444 level on the SPY? We just went sideways. All right. So at these areas, I was identifying this resistance, and we just started consolidating. And then we developed this cup and handle. And then, yeah, that was pretty nice. Tweeted out, here we go again, another cup and handle. And then very shortly after, boom. So if you want all this intraday market analysis, I'm not always right. There were actually also in between all that, there was a lot of just like random like within this little consolidation zone, there was also like right over here. Like it was really tough here. And that's why I didn't alert any calls or puts, just because it was just, look, it was like your lowest volume of the day. You just so much indecision there up until you got towards the end of this handle. But it was definitely confusing at that part. I'm sure I could find that as well. Yeah, just chop for now. Breakouts and breakdowns not doing much. We had a breakdown, we had a breakout. Like, you know, it was just meh. Yeah, that was just a price action. And I just got to a point where let me see if I can find it. Yeah, I said I've redrawn the same area like 10 times. It's just indecision. I set up my alert at a session high. I set up an alert at VWAP, and that's when we were pretty much like right over here. I put an alert like right here, and then I put an alert at VWAP at the time. My alert's actually still there. I was like, I'll just wait until we break out of the way, and then the cup and handle, boom. And look at this volume into the close. I don't know if that's like a misprint, but that's insane. I mean, wow, crazy volume into the close. Doesn't look like a misprint, but I don't know. So that was your SPY for today. Going into tomorrow, again, you're down a little bit after hours, 1/3%. It's not as bad as it seems. Well, I guess that's depending on what position you're in, but going into tomorrow, you are pretty much opening around a key level. You could see this little area. You have a bunch of different candle highs over here. If you can break above like 446, then you got like a nice easy 70-cent move up to this gap fill over here. As you can see, I marked green. In general, it would be nice if we could just hold above that 444 resistance. And also, I was telling you all, how did I find this resistance level when we were down over here? Right over here. Let's go over to the 15-minute. It was a very important level, okay? I mean, we could even drag this back. Look at this. Just look left on your charts and find the lows and the highs, all right? Multiple lows and highs at this level, which is why when we were over here, I was expecting to see a little bit of turbulence right over there, and then up and handle, breakout, but we're not necessarily like out of the woods just yet. We have to still see, okay? But nonetheless, we were talking about a potential nice move. I mean, we already got a 2% move off the lows. In terms of this pullback we've been in, we've made a 382 retrace. That's another fib level that we're testing as resistance. So you've kind of created like we can even extend this over here. Like this is kind of like your resistance going into tomorrow. And then I'd say probably above 447. Then that opens it up a little bit in terms of your intraday range. Maybe it's around 448.5, your 200-day moving average. I'm sure I'd be surprised if you just blew right back above that, but we'll see. So that's your SPY, a little bit of an extended breakdown for that today. Moving on to the QQQ, same thing. We talked about this level last night, this little zone. You did bounce off the zone. It's been used as support and resistance in the past. You've got the hidden bullish divergence just like the SPY on the daily and the 4 hour. And then you also got a breakout today. I did chart this little white neckline of like a double bottom over here. So you're going to be testing that tomorrow morning. So very, very key levels being tested tomorrow morning. I was coming into today pretty bullish. Obviously, go back to last night's stream. Going into tomorrow morning, I'm more just like, I want to see like at least like the first hour of price action before I really get a direction, because you're just testing these levels going into tomorrow. So I just want to see the first hour of price action, to be honest. And then the NASDAQ, very similar to the QQQ. But it does have this very clean looking potential inverse head and shoulders formation, and you're starting to curl at that right shoulder. We'll see what happens. The ARK ETF up 4% today. Bullish engulfing candle for the ARK ETF today. Clov also had a bullish engulfing candle today. We'll get to that in a bit. Hidden bullish divergence. I mean, you all know the drill if you watch the streams. And then finally, the Russell 2000. Futures are green after hours, and the S&P and the NASDAQ futures are red after hours. Pretty interesting. We are also seeing, you know, our large cap earnings starting to come out. And what's the chance of a potential reversal, not reversal, but rotation to small caps? We really haven't seen small caps shine, at least compared to like large caps, in a while. And I'm just starting to think, again, this is a very like, just a theory, not even really a theory. It's just like a what if scenario, honestly. I mean, I'd like it. There's no way to know, but it would just be interesting to me if we did start to see a lot of these names again, you know, that are just absolutely demolished, much more than the large caps are. And yes, the NASDAQ did fall 20% in like the first quarter of the year, but something like the ARK ETF like lost like 70% of its value from the COVID crash low to high. You know what I'm saying? Came back down that much. Like, and those are just numbers off the top of my head. Those are not exact numbers. I don't know the exact numbers, but you get the point. So now you're starting to see some strength come back in, and the context is very, very important. Okay, we had this down sloping channel. All right, when we broke out of it, I told you all we broke out of it. Then we back tested, and I said we're back testing for the last like week or so. Now we're starting to push off the back test. What do you want when you break out? You want a break, a hook, and a go. Okay. Further confirmation that what was once an area of supply or resistance is now flipping into support, where you're getting demand at those levels. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I don't want to get too ahead of myself here, but it's a good start. However, you got a long way to go. Start is not enough. I mean, first area you want to look out for is this 202.5 gap fill level. We'll see what happens there. And yeah, okay. It also did kind of, or it's testing the breakout, so 15-minute range spin on the lower time frames. So there we go. That's the market. Let me read the chat before we get into individual names. We can start off with Netflix. Hit the like button, the subscribe button. Let's see what I missed. Zeke says Clov 1 and 3 not going to be seen again. We shall see. Zeke says LOL, flex your trading view, follow some more. Laid back says would love to see small caps start moving in the right direction. I would love that as well. Zeke says FTM loves those back tests. Guys, he's making those faces. I certainly am. And you are starting to see. I mean, I think I put out maybe 3 new swings today. I mean, during this week in total, I might have put out like 4 or 5 new swings just in the last, well, yesterday and today. So yeah, you all know how I feel about the market right now. Well, you know, it's not ever a certainty. And then we have things like Netflix. So yeah, Netflix got crushed. I mean, here's the thing, and actually, I don't want to bring it up, but I was looking at the chart earlier today. I think Cheddar Freeze even mentioned this. This is why I always talk about, you know, with technicals, news can override them, right? And earnings can override them. This is why I don't really like alerting things right before earnings. Like a couple weeks, fine. It gives it a chance to move up a bit prior to earnings, but like right before earnings, I don't like alerting anything. But I was looking at Netflix. It was an interesting chart. If earnings weren't today, I mean, look at this. You've got a dragon pattern and a weekly shark. Like, wow. Okay. But earnings were today. That's why I just had to chart it and wait until after, and thankfully so. it fell like 25% on earnings. So again, technicals can easily get ridden when you have something such as earnings. This is actually like the second earnings in a row that Netflix got crushed on. I mean, look at this earnings from, I think this was Q4 of last year. Fell like about the same amount then as well. So you can't see it because this after hours is not included. So let's include that. But yeah, big sharp drop. And you're now down to 259. I can mark that roughly. All right. So this is pretty much where you close after hours, which is interesting, okay? It is certainly a level that has been used as support in the past. That is one level I'd look at tomorrow, but again, you know, we gotta see what the pre-market looks like. And it's really not in a technical time for this stock. It's more of a catalyst-driven fear, greed, not really greed, but fear and just dumping type of situation. So that's what Netflix is doing, and obviously it did affect something like the QQQ, which futures are down almost 1% on the QQQ, while Russell futures are flat. So you can definitely see how it made a difference there. So that was Netflix today. We can go over the swings now, and start off with Clov. Okay, we're gonna go over to the daily. Clov's pretty much around the entry or where it was alerted. Nice bounce back day for today. Actually no. So this end of day pullback prevented what was very close to a bullish engulfing candle, which sucks. What is going on with the MACD? All right, so at one point today, it was looking like you could have a bullish engulfing on Clov. You didn't close it like that. That's why you always gotta wait for the market to close to get those confirmations for daily candles. But you can see you're starting to bounce at this little area, this 289 level. It's a gap fill level, and you have that daily hidden bullish divergence, potentially same thing on the 4 hour. And what did you do? Clov broke out today. Okay, again, a breakout itself is not everything. A breakout does not mean 100% the stock is going to go up like other people make it out to be. A breakout just gives you an increased edge that it could. All right, and yeah, you broke out. I've told you all for the past couple weeks that you're just in a wedge on Clov. We were waiting for the breakout. I put out a new swing. I added more in the simulator ETF. I got into calls myself, and I told you all on Twitter, in the Discord, and on the stream that I got into calls myself. And I alerted calls to premium members yesterday. That went up, I think, 50% today. And yeah, I was waiting for this one. So nice move. It was up. I mean, at one point it was up about 8% today. It closed up 4%. So pulled back a little bit in the end of the day. But that pullback did drop you back down to backtest. So like we were just talking about that break hook and go on the Russell. Now you have a potential for a break hook. And if we start seeing some price action tomorrow or the day after, a potential go. And yeah. All right, Clov broke out. If you follow me on Twitter, I also tweeted that out. These are my levels on the 1 hour. Also very, very interesting. Okay, these are 2 key levels to watch, and look how perfectly they line up with Fibonacci. So if we fib from this high down to this low, okay, the 382 lines up with 325. Where did I get 325 from? These highs and lows, okay? The 382 lines up with that. So 325 is just a big level, and then 340-ish, 50% retrace, and then also some highs and lows, okay? So those are the 2 key levels of resistance short term for Clov. And then you can see it bounced right off of this gap fill, okay? Right off this gap fill level, which I did talk about last night on the stream. I'm pretty sure I did. So there you go. We wanted this to happen. It happened. It's a good start. Nice day. I took some profits on Clov calls, and actually I didn't mention that. I want to pull up my Twitter. I've like referred to my Twitter so many times, I just haven't pulled it up. So let's pull this up. And also remember, like, yeah, we were talking about this. This was last week, right? And we went down all the way to like over here, filled this gap, and now we're bouncing back up. So I've been waiting for this one. Let me see. I'm looking for one very specific tweet. Let's see if we can find it. There we go. Nope, there we do not go. How many times did I tweet about Clov today? Wow. There we go. So yeah, you could see I got into calls. I alerted calls yesterday in premium, and then over here at 11:44 a.m. I said I'm taking like a very, very small amount of my Clov calls off the table simply because I'm up 50%. I think I was actually taking out profits around like 65, 70%. And I still am holding majority. So yeah, I did take some profits on the Clov calls. Again, I got into these calls, I think yesterday. I took some profits today. I was up like 70, 60%, whatever it was. I think it took about like a third of my profits overall. It took me some time to scale them out. And I'm still holding 2/3 of my calls in Clov. So yeah. We're gonna get to Fisker probably next, but it's very, very fun to see Clov and Fisker both showing these wedge breakouts at the same time. Clov already broke out and back tested, and then Fisker just broke out, which we're gonna talk about next. I still gotta talk about Clov a little bit more. And I'm gonna come back to Clov, I guess. Actually, no, we can just do it right now. Yeah, the calls that were alerted. If you want to join premium, the link's in the description. But yesterday I did alert Clov calls, $2.5 strikes for this week. So in the money Clov calls expiring this Friday. They went from 42 cents to I think 64 cents was the high today. So I alerted them at 42 cents and they went up to 64 cents at the high today. Here's the other thing, okay? And for anybody who's like, it's always in premium, go back to last night's stream, okay? I broke down this whole entire Clov call idea trade last night on stream. And last night, these calls closed flat. I think they closed at 41 cents. They were down 1 cent since the alert, okay? So if you just watch last night's stream, you saw it, okay? And it sounded like Clov gapped up 8% today. If we go over to the open, Clov opened flat today. So I think those calls actually were at like 38, 39 cents in the morning. So if you just watch last night's stream, the same exact analysis was broken down for all of you on stream, all right? So nice move today. These went up to 64 cents. I think I had slightly different calls. I think I know I still have the calls, but I think they are different. I'm really not good at remembering the strikes I get. I know the expiration is this Friday, but yeah, they're $3 strikes. So I alerted 2.5s and I got $3 strikes. All right, so that's Clov, okay? And then it got up to this level, and then, oh, I forgot to even mention this. So this time when I saw I was taking a little bit of profit, it was 11.44. There you go. This was 11.44. So I was entering calls over here, which I told you on stream, which I alerted in premium, and then I also told everybody on Twitter that I was taking profits at the high of day today. So again, just find a way to help yourself. You don't have to join premium. It definitely can make things easier for some people, but I'm trying to help out in every single way I can. So I took a third of my profits off table there, still holding the other 2/3. We'll see what happens. That's the whole breakdown for Clov. Nice day today. Finally something that I could like spend some time talking about. And then what else? Fisker. And I said yesterday, I could probably find this really quickly. Or not. Oh, there we go. And then yesterday I said I got Clov calls, but I wanted to see what Fisker looked like in the morning. And this morning, I did enter Fisker calls. And again, I'm not trying to like brag or anything. This is just showing you what like learning TA can do for you. And you can also always feel free to send this to your friends that say TA is fake. I entered Fisker on this candle, all right? And why? Am I some sort of magician that predicts the future? No, it's all you gotta do. And it sounds so simple, even though it takes years of practice and you really have to spend a lot of time learning this. But I drew a demand line this morning. It hit the demand line and I got into Fisker calls over here, okay? Surprised I was there. I don't think I took any profit on Fisker yet. I don't think I did. Unless I just did it like really quickly. I don't think I took profits on the calls, and I'm up on those calls, so yeah. All right, so I got into Fisker calls this morning right off that demand line tap. It was also kind of back testing this little area of resistance, so I got a small position in calls. I increased it a little bit like in this area, held it into the close, and then what did Fisker do today? Broke out. All right, 1 hour breakout for Fisker. I talked about this wedge yesterday. You also back above this little support area, as you can see from all these lows. Very nice. Okay, it is down like 1% after hours, but we'll see what it looks like in the morning. So there you go, Fisker breaking out at the same time as Clov. I mean, then I can't be happier. I can't be happy right now. But again, remember, these breakouts are not certainties that they will go up. They're just an edge. All right. So that's Fisker and Clov. Facebook, I guess we're just kind of going over option trades like at the same time. Same thing. I mean, last night's stream, like, so yeah, Facebook calls were alerted yesterday. They were already marking on the sheet yesterday, but I told you all coming into today that it was still in the wedge. It was still very close to a very nice move. and another one. All right, this was alerted outside of premium. If you want to join Discord, it's free. The link's in the description. I alerted Facebook calls to everybody, okay, yesterday afternoon, and these went up 140%, okay? How did I, again, am I some sort of genius? No. I actually failed geometry in high school, but I spent years learning this craft. I was able to identify this wedge. I drew the two lines, and boom, okay? Stock price alone, it went up about 4%. Options went up 140%, okay? And I was updating on this as much as I could today. All right, so it's not just alert and then I just run away and forget like I never alerted anything. The updates were taking place the whole entire time, all right? Even this morning, again, even if you missed it yesterday and you just watched last night's stream, 12 minutes after the open, I'm telling all of you, Facebook's still at the wedge apex. The edge did not change. The calls opened a little bit lower. They got back into profit. I even alerted when it was breaking out, and I pinged all 2,000 people in the Discord this morning that Facebook was breaking out, okay? The calls were up only 20% at this point. Even if you didn't even look at it until now, you still had a chance at a big profit. It had developed like this inverse head and shoulders. That played out beautifully. I don't know if I shared an update on that, but there you go. I mean, level by level, right? So you're kind of in the middle of nowhere right now, but your next resistance is around 221, support's around 215. I did not have Facebook calls yesterday, but I did also, what's it called? I did also get some Facebook calls this morning. I day traded them. I probably took profits. Like, I think I took them like around when I was testing this high. And I got around 100% profit on those calls I entered this morning. A little bit under 100% actually. And yeah, I got up to this little level, kind of consolidated there. What else? So that's Facebook. Oh, and then in terms of the swing, you know, the swing already was marked green up over here. Nice little bounce back. It did actually, I didn't even notice this. It hit that 218.5 level we've been talking about on the daily, back from these highs right over here. So it actually tapped that perfectly, which is interesting. And then continuing on, the new swing alerted yesterday, City is up about 1%. It's breaking out of this little wedge. The divergence is confirmed. Not much of any major update on this. Penn, another swing we talked about last night, the divergence. And remember we talked about this bullish pin bar candle? You got fall through price action. It was up 5% today. So nice bounce off this. Just got to hold these levels, okay? Penn, I know it's not the best start to the trade, but the stop was not hit yet. It's not over until it's over, okay? Remember that. And then some other trades that were already marked green at the highs. Neo, kind of 2 days actually, getting a nice bounce off the mid $18 level. Keep an eye on that. And then Smile Direct Club, we're still keeping an eye on it. Already hit the first target, but third higher low in a row. We got the bullish pimp bar. It really wasn't bullish pimp bar. We got like a doji yesterday, hitting bullish, up 7% today. So nice day for the swings. Every single swing was green. And I did alert a new swing, which we can talk about in a second. Let me just read the chat. All right. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Where did you learn to do technical analysis? Mitch Ray. Just look up Mitch Ray on YouTube. Just like you type in the chat, just put that in your YouTube search bar. And how did I learn? I didn't just watch him for one day. I watched him for 2 years. And then, you know, I did start going out and finding other resources, but that was definitely the primary way I started learning. And my stream is very similar to his. I mean, I owe a lot of this success that I've seen the last couple of years just from seeing his streams. It gave me all the motivation to do everything I'm doing right now. So yeah, huge shout out to Mitch Ray. Keanu, yep, that bottom call was nice. Layback says I got some Facebook action as well. Good call, thank you. And I was just talking about this. I don't know if it was this week. It might have been last week. I don't know if anybody in the chat remembers. I was just talking about alerting options to everybody. And again, I don't remember. It was within the last 7 days. I talked about some stream, and you know, I talked about how I was alerting options outside of premium for a while. If you all remember, when the market was like absolutely dumping, and it was a pretty good streak too. We had a nice amount of some nice buy lotto calls. I remember. But I talked about this recently where I kind of stopped because it just got really stressful for me. And it still is really stressful for me. Okay. It's just a lot harder. All right. So, you know, because I'm alerting it again. There's 2,000 people over here, 9,000 people on Twitter, That's over 10K people. Like it's, and again, I'm not making or telling or any, like, it's not financial advice. I'm not telling anybody to do anything, right? Right? Not financial advice. It's just the fact that, like, and it's not about the money or anything like that. Because again, all of you do whatever you want with your own money. Okay. You make money, you lose money. That's because of you. All right. But it's just the fact of, like, I wouldn't say it's validation. It's just that's a lot of people looking at the same exact thing. And it like, you can clearly see how that's a lot of pressure. And also it's also the fact that I'm sure a good amount of those people don't have a lot of experience with stuff like this, and it's a little bit hard for me to, like, alert it to so many different people when, like, some people might not know what they're doing, and you know, it could not, like, you know, there's just so many different scenarios, rather than like when I'm alerting nonstop and premium and it's like the same types of things. You can very quickly get an idea of how my system works. That's the other thing, like, a lot of people just might not understand my system. So it's just, it gets, for options specifically, and especially when they're weekly options and they move so quick, it gets stressful. Hopefully you could have just seen it in my face trying to describe it. All right, that's why I kind of, even though they were doing well and most of my option alerts were doing well, I just get really stressed doing that. So they're going to be once in a while a thing. We see a nice wedge like I did on Facebook, and it looks like it's going to be a relatively easy trade. You know, that's when I'll try and alert stuff. But if you want more of these, you know, not all of them are going to be winner. There are going to be losers. Premium link is in the description, and let's see if we can pull this up. And if you want to check it out, if you go over to the sign up page, you can actually see the results of, like, the last, like, 4 or 5 months. I haven't updated in like 2 weeks, so it doesn't have the last 2 weeks, but I think we're at 22, maybe 22 or 23 green weeks in a row. Not necessarily for, like, the swings. We did have a little bit of a rough patch for the swings, but for the option ideas, in terms of, like, how they're, like, netting out at the end of the week, it's like the 22 to 23rd, 22nd, 23rd green week in a row for those. Again, there's, knock on wood, hopefully it's not soon, but I'm sure there'll be a red week at some point. I'm not a perfect trader, but the last 22, 23 weeks have been amazing for options, and hopefully it stays like that, but we'll see. So that's just like a little side talk. I don't know, we'll go over some options in a second, but we got to do the final swing or the analysis for that. Trip, all right, new swing. This is alerted to all of you. Yeah, what's the variables? Potential inverse head and shoulders, and then if we zoom out, huge bullish bat. The B to D is a little bit extended, and you know, this is like 2% off, which I think is fine. But pretty much you've got, you know, around your 382 retrace, your 886 to the low. Not bullish divergence, but you did get a MACD crossover on the daily, and you do have it on the weekly though. You have that classic bullish divergence pretty much on the weekly. So Trip is a new swing I alerted, and yeah. It's got a little bit of resistance in that blue zone. If it can get above that resistance, that opens up a nice range. How did I set up the swing? I put the stop under this low over here, which also would mean it would break both of the shoulder lows. First target, I put right under this resistance. You can see it used to be support over here, resistance here. Second target is this gap fill right over here from like the beginning of November of last year. Third target, this resistance and this support and this support. And then fourth target, a little bit under this $47 area, which was support over here, resistance over here, resistance again. Zoom out on your chart and look left. Look for highs and lows, look where they intersect. You know, there's gonna be areas where you once have a resistance and then it flips into a support, right? Just look for those types of areas. Those are gonna be levels. And how do you find out if it's a support or resistance? If it's above you, it's a resistance. If it's below you, it's a support. Potentially. There's no way to know for sure it's going to act as a resistance or a support. So that's the new swing. That's the update on all those. So yeah, just so we can go over some of the calls. So we already did talk about the Clov calls. Those worked out. The city calls, those I think closed relatively flat again. They haven't done much, which is why I put the expiration like 2 weeks out. Again, it's pretty much relatively the same analysis as the swing, so I'm not going to spend time going over that. Nvidia, I alerted these calls yesterday. Those were up 60% at the highs. Again, this is all in premium. I'm just breaking it down on stream so you can get the education from it. And also premium members can see, like, you know, what I was thinking. Ooh, nice little potential, like, scuffed inverse head and shoulders heading into tomorrow. But yeah. I already broke down the reasoning behind this alert yesterday on stream. I'm not going to do the same thing again, just like a little bit of an update. It went up today. The calls are up 60% at the highs. The 3 rising valleys I talked about last night on stream played out beautifully. Create a little bit of a wedge until the end of the day, went up, and then it is down a little bit after hours. I mean, it's the large cap tech, and large cap techs got hit, so it pulled back with a lot of others after hours. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I told you all I got into NVIDIA calls yesterday. I sold some calls yesterday, and then this morning I sold some more calls. I kind of left, you know, a smaller amount of my position. Definitely not, I don't have the majority of my NVIDIA position left on the table. I did take a good amount of profits because the profits were there, and I like the profits, and they expire this week, but I still do have NVIDIA calls that I'm just kind of holding. So we'll see what happens. All right. We're gonna leave it at that. The other ones, I mean, you might have, if you really were zooming into the screen, you could have seen what they were. But I don't want to talk about them until they start like doing things, because they really just haven't moved much since I learned them. So I don't want to. You're gonna have to wait, unless you're in premium. You're gonna have to wait a day or two until they start moving for me to give the updates on stream. Otherwise, what's the point, right? So yeah, those are some breakdowns. We talked about the swings, some of the option trades. I also learned a couple new swings in premium today. And yeah, that's how we're doing so far this week. Futures have pulled back more throughout the stream. The Nasdaq futures are now down over 1%. S&P futures now down about 0.55%. That is a little bit delayed. Russell futures they were green for a little bit. They're slightly red now, not that red. So that's how you're doing with all those. All right, so hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Yeah, we can do some taker requests. If you want me to look at a stock, drop it, or crypto, or anything that's on TradingView that's not an OTC or a very illiquid asset, or a very small market cap asset, you know, just like a normal, something I would look at on stream, normally drop it in the chat. Nothing I say is financial advice. Again, it's your money. It's not my money, it's your money. So you do whatever you want with your own money, because it's yours. I'm just a person. I have opinions, they're not facts, and I don't know the future. Airbnb looks very choppy to me. I mean, I look at this whole entire area, it's just like a large range, and I mean, yeah. This really, I mean, you could make the inverse head and shoulders argument somewhat. You know, something like that. I'm just trying really quickly to make that argument, but for me, it's just a more of a range. It's just not much. I really, you know, I can see it going either way. That's like the main point here. There's just a lot of different ways. Most of it's just pretty neutral stuff. You can look at it. Beyond, it broke out of a wedge. It's not doing much since. Hopefully it can just pivot, make a higher low, and then rally again. Yeah. OXY, hidden bullish divergence. A little bit of like an upsloping channel here. Testing $61 resistance I've charted. If that breaks, next level I see is around $68. That can't, this flag or channel, I wouldn't call it a flag. This channel doesn't hold. I have some other supports charted as well. Rivian. I want to see how that's done. I haven't looked at it in a long time. Bet it's near all-time lows, and it is. Not much here. I mean, this is your final support. You don't hold it. There's no technical support after that. I mean, we could always chart levels. You know how it is. Not much can be done apart from that. It kind of already broke out, had a nice little run. Maybe it's just trying to reset. A lot of stocks did break out of like longer-term channels and wedges in March, and then they just sold off in the first half of this month. If they start reversing again, then it opens up the possibility for a lot of like breakouts with double bottom confirmations and break hook and goes and stuff like that. That's what I'm starting to keep a very close eye on, not just for like something like Rivian, but a lot of other names. But it's going to take some time for more confirmation. Grow generation on the 4-hour. It's like a bat. It's like a textbook bullish bat on the 4-hour chart. Good job finding these ones, Max. Major support, yeah. Also a support zone here, yeah. The variables are there. It's not certainty they'll play out, but they are certainly there. Bullish engulfing on the 4-hour as well. Hidden bullish on the daily, potentially, like a lot of other assets. Look at that. Look at the context. What was once resistance, it's now acting as support, as Mitch Ray would say. All right, we'll see what happens. Upstart bouncing off of $81 support. Got a little bit of classic bullish divergence on this one. It's like the third time at the PCZ of this shark. It's their make or break area. That's what it is, and you can probably draw a supply line here as well. A little bit of like another wedge formation. That's Upstart. Interesting. I'm gonna keep this on my watch list. I also want to keep this on my watch list. Good job. Also, I love seeing, you know, how people are improving like with their ticker requests, if that makes sense. A lot of you, you know, you start watching the stream, you don't really understand my system that much. Take some time to understand it, and then you start to understand, and then you start requesting tickers that match my system, and it just makes things easier for you, for me, and yeah, it's awesome. DraftKings, it's been in the same area, you know. I'm just kind of waiting for it to break out first, because, you know, would have the opportunity cost of going along the first time I hit the PCZ would have been almost 3 months of just waiting. So I'm just waiting for this to break out of the wedge first. But yeah, the variables have been there for a while. It's this massive shark, just waiting. All right, so that's gonna be it for tonight. Thank you for watching the stream. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you didn't already. Appreciate all of you. Good luck if you trade tomorrow. And yeah.